Hey everybody, this is Unit 5 Formative 1 Video 2 and we're going to be factoring today. So when we factor, we're actually going to be given the trinomial instead of our two parentheses. So normally we start off with our two parentheses, so like maybe x plus 3, 2x plus 5, and we're going to distribute everything together and we multiply it all to end up with this as our answer. Well, today works a little bit different because we're actually going to be going backwards and we're going to be figuring out what goes in our two parentheses. So what we want to do here is first draw our two parentheses. And what will give us x squared? Well, x times x gives us x squared. Okay? From there then we want to find factors, or in other words numbers that will multiply to be negative 15. Okay? And they have to add to negative 2. So we have 5 and negative 3. Remember, to get a negative 1 has to be negative, 1 has to be positive. We have negative 5, positive 3. We have 15 and negative 1. And we have negative 15 and positive 1. Okay? Those numbers that add to negative 2 are going to be negative 5 and positive 3. You have to be very careful with the numbers you choose, because 5 and negative 3 gives you a positive 2, not a negative 2. So then you just take those two numbers that you found, negative 5 and 3, and you plug them in your parentheses. So we go minus 5 and then plus 3. And then there would be your answer. All right, here's another example. Again, draw your two parentheses. And x times x gives you x squared, so we're going to put an x in the beginning. And then we want to find factors of negative 35 that are going to add to negative 2. So we have negative 35 and positive 1. We have 35 and negative 1. We have 7 and negative 5. We have negative 7 and positive 5. And the ones that equal negative 2 are going to be, again, negative 7 and 5. And again, make sure you are careful and don't pick 7 and negative 5 because those equal positive 2. Then we're just going to take both these numbers here, negative 7 and 5, and plug them in your parentheses. So minus 7 plus 5. And there would be your answer. All right, this one works a little bit differently. So same thing, going to draw your two parentheses. Except now we want to get 3x squared, not just x squared. So that means we're going to put a 3x here, and 3x times x gives you 3x squared. Okay, now we're going to actually multiply 3 and negative 18 together, and that gives me a negative 54. So this is very similar to the last problems, except the last ones we were taking whatever this last number here times 1 because there was just a 1 out in front of the x squared. Now we're actually multiplying it by 3. And we're finding factors of negative 54 that are going to add to negative 25. Well, there is 27 and negative 2. There's negative 27 and positive 2. There's 9 and negative 6, negative 9 and positive 6. Well, the ones that add to negative 25 are actually going to be right here, negative 27 and 2. And 3, so what we're essentially doing is figuring out what multiplies here and here to equal these two numbers. Well, 3 doesn't multiply by anything to give you negative 20, or to give you 2, so that means the plus 2 is going to have to go right here. And then 3 times, so that will give you the 2x here is what you need. And then you need a negative 27x here so that they add to be negative 25x. Well, 3 times negative 9 gives you negative 27x. So that's how we got that. All right, with this one, it's very similar to the last one. So we're going to take, and again, draw our two parentheses. We're going to put a 2x and an x, because 2x times x gives you 2x squared, which is what you want there. And then we're going to multiply 2 and negative 7 to get negative 14. We want to find factors in negative 14 that are going to add to negative 13. So again, we're trying to multiply to be a negative, so one number has to be positive, one has to be negative. So we can have 14 and negative 1. We can have negative 14 and positive 1. We can have 2 and negative 7. Or we can have 7 and negative 2. We want the ones that add to negative 13, so we're going to use negative 14 and positive 1. Okay, well 2 doesn't multiply by anything to be 1, so we're going to put the 1 in the first parentheses. So that gives me the 1x here. That means that I need negative 14x here, so 2 times negative 7 gives you negative 14. Okay, so you use these two numbers, that's what you need to find here and here after you multiply 1x and 2x and negative 7. So here's what it would be factored out. All right, make sure you guys took notes, and we will see you later.